You guys see this wristband? That's from taking an L on the Kawhi Leonard ones. That feels great. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about the Jordan 3 Tinkers, and we are also going to be talking about some tips for copying the Jordan 1s that are releasing in Europe, actually, which includes the track red Jordan 1s and also the ochre yellow Jordan 1s. And of course, we're also going to talk about the blue moons and the clay greens, just some extra tips for those. But essentially, I want to make it very clear, is when we get to those, you can cop the red and the yellow from anywhere in the world. People were saying if you're in the US, you can't get them. Well, you can get them, and I'll show you how. But for right now, let's talk about the Jordan 3 Tinkers. To be more specific with the Jordan 3 Tinkers, we're going to be talking about some release info for them, how to cop them, and some resale predictions for them. So to kick it off with some release info, these initially released on March 24th in very limited quantities. However, they are re-releasing on April 30th, which is this coming Monday. The retail on these still hold at $200. However, if you're looking at certain raffles or certain first come first serves, the prices do fluctuate. I think the highest I saw was $225. And if you're wondering if anything changed, like the design of the shoe, if they added any more details or whatever, nope, everything will be staying exactly the same. So with that, why don't we jump into how to cop them? Let's talk about how you guys could get these Jordan 3 Tinkers for retail. So to kick it off, let's talk about a raffle. The first raffle and the only raffle, unfortunately, that you can join is the Sneakers and Stuff raffle. And as you guys know, if you've been on the channel for a while, with the Sneakers and Stuff raffle, you can only make one entry, so unfortunately, there is no way to make duplicate entries for this one, so just keep it fair and square. And if you happen to be watching this video and it's a little too late to join, or if you're watching this after the releases happen, guys, just for future references, I'm sure everyone on the channel could agree, just make sure you turn on post notifications so you stay updated on all these hyped releases, because you definitely don't want to miss out on any opportunities. And to be fair, I did also make a tweet about this raffle, so you did have enough time to join, so be sure to also follow my Twitter. Now, moving on from the raffles, we have a couple of first come first serve releases at 10 a.m. Eastern time on the 30th. To kick it off, we obviously have Nike sneakers, and of course, this is on a Monday, so some of you might not have access to a computer, and that is fine. That is perfectly fine, because you could still use the app on Nike sneakers. Now, this will be a first come first serve, luckily, because I hate the draws. The reason I know this, if you go to the app and it doesn't say draw opens at 10 a.m. Eastern time, we know that it's going to be a first come first serve. Now, I'm going to refresh your memory with a few tips, and honestly, anyone who's subscribed, you guys should know these tips by now if you've watched any of my previous videos. But also for the new guys, just to briefly mention, make sure in your settings your size is selected, make sure your address is set up, and you check the box that states set this as your default address. Also, make sure your payment is filled in. I prefer to use PayPal, but you could still use credit and debit. They work fine too. And finally, if you have the option to use Apple Pay, I highly suggest you take advantage of that. Okay, so with Nike sneakers out of the way, why don't we move on to some more first come first serves. So some more first come first serves would include RU Villa, DTLR, and Shoe Palace. Now for Shoe Palace, they do this weird thing where if you try to add to cart and it's unsuccessful, they put up a little timer and they say don't try again until this timer runs up. Guys, just ignore the timer, just try to add to cart again. They're just trying to decrease people from spamming it, but honestly, that's the only way to do it. You just got to keep trying and trying, so completely disregard that little timer. Maybe if you want, wait 20 seconds, but definitely don't wait that full 2 minutes to try to add to cart again. Just keep on trying, I'm telling you guys. Now, also at 10 a.m. Eastern time, Kicks USA will be doing a queue, and since it is a queue, what you can try is the multiple people jig. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the multiple people jig, check out this video right here. It teaches you how to do it on adidas.com. But of course, you could transfer that knowledge onto Kicks USA and use it there too. Now, just some tips for all of these first come first serves, which all the OG subs, and if you're new, make sure to subscribe to join this awesome community. All my OG subs should know this. Make sure you use Command R to refresh on Mac or F5 to refresh on Windows. The reason I say this, you don't want to refresh by clicking that little refresh button up top, because then you're going to have to drag the mouse over to the size selection. Instead, press these buttons and your mouse could stay hovering over the size selection which could save you a second or two, which might be the difference between copying and not copying. Speaking of copying and not copying, what you're definitely going to need to set up is autofill. To do this, I don't recommend that you add an extension, because all you really need to do is use Google Chrome, go into your settings, and set it up there. Now, for your absolute best chance at copying the Tinker 3s, like I'm talking like you can basically guarantee yourself a pair. Well, not necessarily guarantee it, but it's all up to how much effort you want to put in. Basically, if you don't have school or if you don't have work, or maybe you're willing to go in late or whatever, all you have to do is camp outside of a foot action that is getting them. Now, as you guys know, they did the reservation system. So if you go to the app and check to see which places were doing the reservation systems, that is where you know you can go to try. And obviously with the reservation systems, it's almost guaranteed that not everyone picks up their pairs. So obviously what Foot Action does, what Foot Locker does, and Champs, unfortunately they're not getting them, only Foot Action is. So what Foot Action is going to do, they're going to hand out tickets at around like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock usually. You come back with the ticket, and for weekdays, you have to come back at 6 p.m. your time. On weekends, it's 3 p.m., but of course this is a Monday. So you want to be back there at like 5:30-ish, 5:45. And if there's any leftovers, they're going to give it to you depending on how early you were coming for the tickets. Say you got the first ticket, like you got there super early, you're basically guaranteed a pair as long as one person didn't pick up theirs. Now, you don't have to get up super early like you normally would for a weekend, because most people will have work and school, but I still would suggest getting there at least around like 6 o'clock. That should be fair. 6 a.m. that is, of course. Now, that will conclude the how to cop portion of the video. So real quick, let's talk resale. First of all, do I think they're going to sell out? Absolutely. Do I think they're going to resell? Yes, I do think that they're going to resell, and I think that you can make a small amount of profit. Not a decent amount, but a small amount. So right now, if you go on StockX, prices are hovering at anywhere from $250 to $320, with an average at around like $280, $270, which if you were able to sell from here, you would still make decent profit. Now, so basically what's going to happen as we get closer to that Monday, as we get closer to the release, the prices are going to drop. I think they could drop as low as like $220, and this is from panic sellers. It makes sense. People know that prices are going to drop even more when more pairs go into circulation. However, I think that they're overestimating the amount of pairs that are going to go into circulation. I mean, Foot Action is the only store that's getting them. Foot Locker isn't, and Champs isn't, so you have to keep in mind that it's not just going to be a GR release. There's going to be decent stock, but it's not like crazy stock like these cool gray 11s were. So I'm predicting that after they go down to $220, after the release, when a lot of people take L's and whatever, there will be more bids, more people will be buying, and I think that they will creep back up to like the $260 to $280 range, maybe even more, which means you can make around like $40 to $50 profit, which if you ask me, it's pretty good. That's pretty good profit, but of course it's up to you. Now, with the Tinkers out of the way, why don't we talk about the best hand in the game Jordan 1s, because I'm always trying to keep you guys updated here. So first of all, let's talk about the green and the blue ones. Just some updates on those. They both still will be available on Nike sneakers, and now for the blue ones, you can also get those on footlocker.com. In addition to footlocker.com, obviously the reservation system, which I do believe you could still sign up for now if it's not too late. And if it is too late, all you really have to do is, if you have free time, do the same thing that I talked about with the Tinker 3s, where you camp out early to get tickets and then you come back at 6 p.m. and try to get the ones that weren't picked up. You could definitely do that for the blue pairs. Also, I do want to say that both of these will resell. Obviously, I think that the blue will resell for the least, but you could still profit from it. Also, I am going to say that I think you can make a small amount of profit from the grade school ones, and if they do happen to brick, I'm going to suggest that you hold them for about 3 to 4 weeks before you sell them. Okay, so now what a lot of you guys are really interested for: the red pair and the yellow pair. You might be wondering, how do I get these if I'm in the United States, or more or less if I'm in a country that isn't getting them on the Nike sneakers app? Well, first of all, there are 2 raffles that you could join. The first raffle you could join is going to be End Clothing. And to make multiple entries into the End Clothing raffle, all you really have to do is open up multiple accounts, and the information in those accounts, you can use multiple email addresses. You could do that. Or what you could do, because I've tested this and it does work, you can add a +1 or a +2 or a +3 inside your email. So say if I have my email borat@gmail.com, I would slide, say, a +7 right between the borat and the @gmail.com. or I could even add a +51. It could be any random number, and all the emails will go to that same account. Now for your address, you do want to change it up slightly. All you're gonna have to do is change the last word up, change the characters up so you could abbreviate it, add a period, you could spell it wrong, so the algorithm won't pick it up, but when they ship to you, they obviously know the word street or the word road. Finally, you want to just use a random phone number because there is no verification process through this, and you will unfortunately have to use different payment methods. Now, moving on to the Foot District raffle. For making an account on Foot District, because you're going to have to do that, all this same info applies. The only difference is you won't need a payment method, which is great. However, you will need Instagram accounts, and I don't suggest making fake accounts. What I suggest is having a friend follow them, because they might see a fake account with like 3 followers and just disregard your entry. But if you have your friend follow them, they won't think anything of it. That's just a quick tip I like to use. But aside from the raffles, let's talk some quick first come first serve. So all the ones that you can try at 3 a.m. Eastern time are going to include Sneak Avenue, Overkill, BSTN, Asphalt Gold, a Few Store, and I believe only for the Track Reds 43 and Hob, and also for both of these shoes, Soulbox will do a Q, which means we can use the multiple people jig. Regarding both of these pairs, the yellows and the reds, both of them are going to resell for pretty good amounts. So far what I've seen, the red is going for more, and also the grade school red will also be reselling for a decent amount. So with that, I'm going to conclude the video, so good luck on all 5 of these pairs that I talked about today. Whatever you plan on going for, I wish you the best of luck. If you enjoyed the video, or if you perhaps learned a thing or two, make sure to leave a like. Also, if you happen to be new, definitely subscribe and turn on post notifications so you stay updated. Also, simply to join this awesome community where we're always trying to help each other out. But with that, I'm out of here, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.
Using your shoe like a size 12 weapon. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
Now I can't run and I can't walk. You hit me so hard, I don't want to talk. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.